Hi, my name is Kyle Bryan, and I'm one of the associate pastors at Anniston First United Methodist Church, and I'm excited to be with you today.
My name is Roland Brown, and I am pastor of Golden Springs Baptist Church.
Hello, my name is Anthony Cook, and I am the pastor of Christian Fellowship Bible Church in Anniston, Alabama. And as we prepare as churches and congregations to reopen along with the rest of the state, we just want to take a little time to encourage you to do the things necessary to prevent the further spread of COVID-19.
To prepare your church, you need to consider extra cleaning. Wipe down door handles, places people touch, bathrooms, light switches, microphones, anything and everything that you can clean, please do clean.
And you might want to consider leaving doors open. We normally close the doors to the congregation during services, but you might want to consider leaving those doors open because that's one less point of contact that people will have to deal with if you leave the doors open.
You also probably want to remove Bibles, pens, and papers from your pews, and that would include handing out things like paper bulletins because people touching the same items create issues.
One of those that we have adopted during this time is a church-wide text messaging service, which is really great. It doesn't cost a lot, but it allows us to communicate with our church members. It allows us to include a hyperlink in the messages they receive on Sunday morning so that they can download an electronic copy of their bulletin.
Another thing we want to make sure we're doing is encouraging social distancing. One of the things that we're going to do at my church is we're going to mark X's every 6 feet along the pews to make sure people can visibly see how to social distance in the congregation. So you want to practice those things as much as possible and make sure people are being as safe as possible.
And I think it's important for us to remember our most vulnerable in our congregations who may not feel comfortable just yet coming to worship services. So if you're streaming your services, please continue to stream them. If you're recording your services, please continue to do that as well so that our elderly can continue to stay home and watch those sermon videos and stream those services and not feel some sort of impetus to get back in the pews and get back in the church.
If you are unable to keep the 6-foot distancing, offer multiple services, do the best you can with what you have. You also need to think about cleaning in between services. If you have multiple services, allow enough space so that you can wipe down everything before the next group comes in.
Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to not pass around the offering plate. That's something that necessarily creates contact and puts people in touch with each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the offering plate stay at the front of the church, and people will file around to drop their money in the collection plate that way.
Another thing that we do at Anniston First anyway, but that I anticipate will continue to increase is our online giving. If your church is not doing online giving right now, Google that. There are some great resources to begin using that. We are a part of a crisis, and one of the things they teach us in leadership is don't let any good crisis go to waste. So, this is a time to really investigate new tools, new technologies that you can introduce to your congregation that you might not have been able to do before.
If you serve food or coffee and that's your habit, I would encourage you to not do that for a while. Just ask folks to eat at home, do the very best you can to reduce that kind of person-to-person contact.
For those churches that have greeters who meet people at the front entrance, be sure to give them the guidance of not hugging or shaking hands. I know we love to show love in the church, but for now, under these circumstances, we want to make sure that they avoid that type of interaction and that type of contact.
For preschool and daycare centers, the state of Alabama is still recommending that there be no more than 12 children per room, and that those children do not interact with other classes. Some churches are choosing not to open their childcare facilities, but some are. So it's just important that you be aware of the best procedures and practices to adopt during this time.
I know worship is a big part of Sunday. It's a big part of our lives, but I would encourage not using your full praise team, not using your choirs. Wipe down. If a person uses a microphone, use it this whole service. Don't share them, and wipe them down in between.
The most important thing is that you're communicating with your congregation. Use social media, use text messages, phone trees, hang signs, Make sure that you are communicating with them about what the best practices are and how you're going to conduct your services. Also make sure that that information is clear to your greeters, to your leadership, and so that they are communicating the same message about how to best keep each other safe.
Oh, we're excited about restarting churches. I want to get back with my flock and my people, but I also want you to help us adhere to these guidelines and follow what we've been asked to do in order to love and keep our congregation safe.
You can find more detailed information at calhounema.org under the Safe Reopening tab.
And we encourage you to be prepared, not scared.